that fucking kicked ass, man. I mean, just seriously, when you tackle the guy and blow his head off the top of the roof, like, that is the sort of overkill that's been missing from the screen since you last were on it. I'm just so happy.
Thank you, Harry.
And I love you weeping over your weapon when you dropped it. It's just, I could tell how much it meant to you.
I loved it so much, and I love making a movie with this man so much. I was watching most of the movie with you guys, and I was laughing. I mean, I was trying to be quiet, but you did. You were great, absolutely great. You were great.
How does it feel
Thank
being
you.
back up there kicking ass like that?
It was a lot of fun being back again in a starring role in an action, traditional Schwarzenegger action film. And it was, first of all, it was great to have you on the set for several days and to report from there and hang out with you and see you having a good time watching all the preparations and everything.
I just love getting to see the cornfield sequence being shot.
I know, that was great.
It really does come across in the film.
And it was also fun for me, because I've never raced in a cornfield. It was kind of fun to go like 80 miles an hour, not knowing where you're going, and you have this drone or this helicopter from above, kind of give me directions of where I'm going, because I had no idea where I'm going.
Well, when I was there, y'all had the guys that were on the great big, almost like cranes up above watching, because y'all were really worried about all the other crew members that were out in that cornfield that you couldn't hit.
That's right, exactly. So it was dangerous, but first of all, let me just say thank you very much for hosting this here today.
Oh, yes.
This is really terrific. To see a packed house. Theater where you have tables like this. This is a whole new concept. I love that. Where you have your drinks and your Wiener Schnitzels and your sauerkraut and all that stuff. I mean, it's really great. And then on top of it, the beer with Johnny, who I was always a big fan. My kids and our whole family was always enjoying watching all of his TV and films and the great entertainment that he has brought. And so it was great to have someone that is responsible for the comic relief. And Johnny did a terrific job. It was great to work with him. Also,
So, Johnny, tell me, was there anything left on the cutting room floor from you? What could we possibly expect? Are there any awesome insanity that you lended that didn't quite make it to the screen?
Probably a lot of blown takes.
Yeah.
It's probably 30, 40 minutes of blown takes. But no, we, Kim Ji-woon, who's an amazing director, real honor to work with him. He shot it wonderfully and he cut it wonderfully, and I think all the best stuff's on the screen.
Yeah.
So,
this guy's crazy. I just want you to know. I mean, like, for instance, when you saw this telephone pole going down,
right?
I mean, he was riding that pole down in reality, and he was smacking, and it was like one of those things he said, oh, I'm just going to hang there, and so I'm established with the pole, and then someone else can do it. And then all of a sudden he let the thing go, and the whole thing went down on the truck, and we all thought he's dead, because it looked like he landed underneath the pole. And then, everyone was running there, and all of a sudden he popped up like usual, and I'm fine. I'm having a great
That's
time.
all hat for you. Just riding a telephone pole now.
I've ridden many poles.
Yeah. How many poles have you ridden exactly?
I tried to tell him, I said, with your movies and your stuff that you do, I said, everything has to go wrong, otherwise there's no laugh. I said, but remember in the Schwarzenegger movie, everything has to go right. I said, so just make a little adjustment there. But it was very hard for him to do.
Awesome. Let's get some questions out of the audience out here. Anybody got a question? Yes, right up front.
Guys, I love the movie. I couldn't help but notice Luis Guzman played, one, he's great, but he was playing with a Conan sword for a second in the movie. So could you tell us whose idea was that, and might that be a hint to what you might be doing in the
Well, I
next
can
year?
tell you that it definitely was not my idea, so it must have been obviously his. I didn't even know we had a Conan sword or a Conan-like sword on the set in the first place. I have no idea where he got that sword from. I think he must have kind of prepped this and planned it ahead of time, so in order to have the sword there. Because I just remember that there's several takes that we have done where he only had those chains with those balls. I don't know what do you call this?
Mace.
Mace. Yeah. He had that. He stuck it in his pants. That was funny because he always had course, you know.
He had two spiky balls hanging down his
It's like a ball shot and the balls.
yeah.
Notice I said that was a funny shtick that he had there. No? But then on the last take, he all of a sudden pulled out that Conan sword, which was never there before, and then he all of a sudden stood there exactly like I did in Conan the Barbarian. He said, he must have practiced this stuff. But that's the great thing about, you know, people that are that are comedians or that do this kind of work.
Yeah.
That they, like with Johnny, they always do the things that are in the script, but then they always improvise and add to the stuff that is in
And
the
how do
script.
you react to that when
Well, it's very
Johnny
hard.
does something crazy?
It's very hard to work with a guy like that. You know, I mean, like he's standing there, all of a sudden, you know, when we did the scene, he was shooting at this beef slab there, and then he said his lines, and then all of a sudden he continued. And I said, wait a minute, what is he talking about now? And he just continues, and he does dancing around me, and hey, have you been working out lately? You know, all this stuff. You know, so it hits you by surprise, so you got to get really quick yourself. And figure out when you're going to come in with your line and with your dialogue. But that's exactly what creates then the laughter, and that's what you need. Because you can have the most action-packed movie, and with the most chase scenes and fight scenes and shootouts and all stunts and all this stuff, but if you don't have some comic relief, I don't think you have much.
Yeah.
You know, so this is why it's important.
No, it helps give a little bit of soul and humor to everything.
That's right,
Makes people
that's right, yeah.
relate to the massive killing. Next question from the audience. Yes, up there.
Arnold, we're recently returning from Afghanistan, and I just want to personally thank you for all the support you give to us troops. Really appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. Sergeant Dakota, can you tell us what's best in life?
To crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and hear the lamentation of their women.
That shit is so cool from right here, man.
But let me just say, I love our brave men and women that are fighting overseas. And, I have the most respect and admiration for them because those are the real action heroes. I mean, we play action heroes in the movies, but you guys that are over there in Afghanistan and Iraq and other parts all over the world and risking your lives are the real action heroes. And that's why I always went overseas to visit the troops, if it's Iraq, or if it's in Germany, or if it's in Japan, and if it is in Yugoslavia and other parts of the world. I think we need to show our appreciation all the time because you guys risking your lives every day, from morning to night, every single day. And I think that, we all have to just admire you, and you ought to be the examples. I mean, think about what you do and the guts you have, and think about the lack of balls that the politicians have today. They cannot even make a decision in Washington about the budget or about the fiscal cliff or anything like that. I mean, and then there you guys are risking your lives. I mean, that to me is what the heroes are all about.
Okay, right over here.
Hey, Arnold, I gotta know, when's the next Pumping Iron coming out?
Well, I don't know when there's another Pumping Iron coming out. I can tell you that we have another Conan movie that we're going to do, and we're going to do another Twins, which will be called Triplets, and we're going to do another Terminator movie and those kind of things. But the Pumping Iron film, I have no idea if there's another one coming out that quickly.
Actually, there is a guy who's doing another Pumping Iron film. He dropped me a press release, but it didn't look so good. They didn't have there's not like a young Arnold Schwarzenegger that I could see in his lineup of talent at this
Well,
point.
thank you.
Yes, right there. Yes, you.
First, I just can't believe I'm talking to Arnold Schwarzenegger.
It is happening. I can confirm it.
Someone's gonna believe this. From you, I'm sure you've done so many awesome things, but I want to know what is the manliest thing you have ever done in your opinion?
Well, I think to run the state of California. I mean, think about it, that I was just finishing promoting Terminator 3. And, I was making all the money in the world. And then all of a sudden I made a decision, because the state was really in bad shape, to step out of that spotlight and that world where I was like the star, and then go into the unknown and to run for governor and get abused, as you always do in politics, get attacked, abused about your background and about the things that you've done and the things that you've said and the things that you've taken and all of those kind of things. And and you start out here and they try to tear you down all the way to the bottom. So I think it takes a lot of guts to do that. But to me, it was a no-brainer, simply because I felt like that I was received in America with open arms. California has taken me in and like a stepchild and has given me all the opportunities. So everything that I've ever done in my life is because of America, and it's because of California. So for me to now not make money for 7 years, those big salaries that I've been making, and to work for free for 7 years, and to give something back to the state of California, to give something back to America, was in a way an easy decision, because I felt that I owe it to this country, because I have received so much from this country. So this is why, so it was a courageous decision, but for me, in a way, it was an easy decision, because I felt so strongly, so passionate about giving back to the country that has given me everything.
Yes, right over there.
Great movie, guys. Johnny enjoyed it. Arnold, excellent. There's been a gap in action movies, I think, for the last several years, so it's great to see you back on screen filling in the gap. What was it like to work with this director? I wasn't familiar with the director until I saw his latest movie, I Saw the Devil, I think, which is excellent. Can you tell us a little bit about what it was like to work with the director?
Well, with both of you, because I mean, Kim Ji-woon doesn't speak very good English at this stage, and
It was perfect for me.
yeah. So what was it like working with Kim?
He is, first of all, a wonderful director, a very gifted director. And he did have 2 translators on the set, which I've never worked with through a director like that before. But he would explain things in such a way that you would know what he was talking about before he was finished, because he's very expressive. And he's like an Asian Buster Keaton. And you talked about when he would, he's going to throw himself, you had to throw yourself on the floor for a scene, and he throws himself on the floor. So you would get what he was saying before the translator even spoke. But I just loved working with Kim Ji-woon.
And you said that you saw some of his films, and I think my favorite part of our interview was when you started doing sound effects and describing the shot of the eagle from Good, Bad, and Weird, because you just loved that shot so much. Because I could really see that you were geeking out because you loved the work that Kim Ji-woon, or were you not geeking out? Do you not?
Well, he's he's as you know, a very talented director.
Yeah.
And so the trick was, how do you take someone with so much talent and bring him to Hollywood, bring him to America, and not have the Americans screw him up?
Yeah.
And so that was really, because I've seen firsthand the amount of directors that came over here from Italy, from Germany, from England, from France, from all over the world, Japan, and they have been kind of reduced down to nothing because the studio system is on them and they cannot make a move because the studio comes in with their executives and says, no, that's not the way we do things, we do it this way. In the meantime, they hired him for the way he has directed, but then all of a sudden they try to change him when he's here. And so it really is very, very difficult for someone that comes over here to really show their craft and so that we can hear their voice rather than someone else's. And I think that what we have seen, Johnny, that we have talked about that many times, was that Lorenzo Benaventura, who was the producer, understood that he got to give him the freedom to be himself.
Yeah.
And the director, Kim Ji-woon, had to be understanding that he had to be a collaborator because the American system is different, the way we shoot movies. That you can't just in the middle of the shooting, like you did with the Good, the Bad, and the Weird, to stop for 30 days and to start thinking about the next move. You know, we don't have that.
Yeah, yeah.
We don't have that time here because the crew goes on to somewhere else and they start shooting somewhere else because they have to make a living. They all have families and so on. So therefore you don't, so there's certain things you couldn't do. But there's certain things he could do, and that's what you saw on the screen. That was a typical, you know, Kim Ji-woon film. That's the way he envisioned it, and that's, he wanted to have that kind of music, he wanted to have this kind of editing style, but he was a collaborator, and so this is why I think that guy will go far in this country.
Yeah, I thought he did a tremendous job of film, and I thought right from the opening shot of the road where the guy's measuring the speed of the car going by, one of the things I like about Kim Ji-woon, especially in like I Saw the Devil, is he understands the power of the use of silence and to just keep it quiet. It just felt so much dread going on in that film as a result of that. Awesome.
And you say you credit Lorenzo, but that doesn't happen without you and Lorenzo giving him the freedom to do what he did. So that credit goes to both of you.
Yeah, I mean, Lorenzo brought him over to my house to see if I would sign off on him. And of course, after seeing his movies, I immediately said, yeah, I would like to work with this director. And when the subject came up that of his English, you know, being limited, and that he would work through, you know, 2 translators, I said to myself that, wait a minute, who am I to talk, right? Because when I came over to this country, I went to college, and I was working out, and I was doing bodybuilding, and everyone treated me always so well, even though I couldn't speak the language yet well. I mean, I was struggling reading the paper, I was struggling watching TV and understanding what the news was saying and all this stuff, but everyone treated me equal as if I was just one of the Americans. So I said to myself, you know, I got to do the same thing with a guy like that who is the difficult is because I guarantee you the next film he does, he will speak better, and the next film he will speak better, and within 4 or 5 movies, he will be speaking English perfectly, you know, and so that's the shot we have to give him.
Okay.
Arnold, Johnny asked you in the movie, have you been working out? And I'm getting out of politics and getting back into movies. I'm going to ask you the same question. You know, have you had to change your routine or anything to get back into movies and try to get physical again?
Well, you know, when you a governor for 7 years, it doesn't mean that you change your workout routine. You maybe have days where you can't work out because you are in the office till 9 at night and you're starting at 6 in the morning again. So some days you don't work out. But in general, I would say I always work out at least 5 times a week, a half hour to 45 minutes cardiovascular training, and then a half hour to 45 minutes of weight training. So that's always that's part of the routine. And so therefore, when I went back to films, so like I remember the first movie I did was The Expendables with Sly and this whole gang of guys. I mean, it was, you know, I felt like the only thing I had to really work towards is you know, again, practice with the weapons and know the kind of stunts that were required to do there on the set and practice and work with the stunt coordinator for that. But I didn't have to get in shape specifically for the movie because I was training all along. And then before a movie starts, you always step it up, you know, do like 2 hours a day of working out and so on. And I did the same for this movie. I worked out a little harder, but it was not like I was doing now something totally different. It would be difficult. It is more difficult when you obviously get older. You know that now with the age of 65, the body, it doesn't take all the punishment as well as when you're 35 years old. But I mean, you know, you just have to calculate that in when you do all this stuff.
Yeah, but you could kick most 35-year-olds' ass, right?
He would stomp my
try.
ass into oblivion.
And how's your workout routine, by the way?
Well, I actually do. When I'm not working, I'll exercise 5 days a week. But if I'm on location or doing anything that gives me an excuse not to, I'm not that great about it. I need some of Arnold's discipline.
Mm-hmm.
But I work out a little. You can't tell it. And if the next question is Knoxville out of his margarita, the answer is yes. Just putting that out there.
He is missing a margarita. Okay, up there in the corner.
First of all, thanks for coming to Austin. We appreciate it. And I just wanted to ask, you've reached a pinnacle of like so many areas of life, whether it's bodybuilding, becoming a film star, becoming governor of California. Have you achieved everything you wanted or more than you wanted? You have other goals now?
Well, You know, when I was bodybuilding and I was competing, you know, you just, your goals expand. So it's all part of being hungry. And I always believed in the philosophy of staying hungry. I did a movie of the title one time, and I believe in that. So when I was a bodybuilding champion and I won all the championships, like 13 world bodybuilding championships, it was natural that you go and tackle the next big challenge that is risky, which was to get into movies. It's always the most difficult thing to do, you know, to climb the ladder and to become a leading man and all that stuff. Everyone would tell you right off the top, it's not gonna happen. So to me, the same thing. It says, Arnold, with your body overdeveloped, I mean, forget about that. You know, it's your accent, you know, no one can understand that. And then the name, I mean, how does anyone pronounce Schwarzenegger? I mean, I can see
There's not enough room on
I
the
can see
poster
that.
for it, right?
Yeah.
You know, there's too many letters. The poster needs to get bigger.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I mean, imagine the amount of things that they were telling me that why it's not going to happen. So, you know, but I was hungry. I was hungry for you know, getting into that, and there was a new challenge for me to get into it, and I did. And you know, I worked my way up to the top, and then I felt like I should jump into the governor's race, and again start from the bottom and work my way up, and then learn as quickly as possible in order. And so I think that it will continue. You know, my whole fight for the environment, my creation of the USC Schwarzenegger Institute, where we're going to work on good government practice and on political reform and environmental issues, stem cell research issues, and economic issues and stuff like that. So all of this we will continue, and I will continue. So I'm hungry always for more and to explore new ways of reaching out and having an impact. I remember my father always said, Arnold, be useful. That's the bottom line, be useful. You know, whatever you do and how long you live, it doesn't make any difference. It says you just got to be useful. And so that's what I do, try to be useful.
I just want to say, Arnold, it's such an inspiration to see you here. Thank you for coming out to Austin. And I was just wondering, I'm really excited about this, like, next wind of your career. Are you thinking of taking on any villain roles?
Is there a bad guy in your future?
Yes, I mean, I think that villains are very interesting to play. And I think you get away with much more as a villain than as a hero.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that there is room for playing both. It depends always how well the character is written. You know, to me, it's all about that. Especially now at that stage of my life, I feel that it's very, very important that the story is done well, that there are multi-dimensional scenes in there. Like as you could see in this film here, it was great because the director insisted on really working on the vulnerability and to let that play out. It was more believable, of course, now at this age to play that more vulnerable character than if I would have been 30. So I think that villains can be written really interestingly, and so you will see me as a villain also. Yes, absolutely.
So, Arnold, I have to ask, because I'm just so nerdy about it. What's the state of Conan right now? What's going forward with you?
Well, Universal Studios has, for the first time, like 6 months ago, expressed interest and have admitted that even though I have now asked them for the last 10 years to get serious about the Conan series and to not look at it as a B movie or as kind of like just a cheap action movie, but to look at it as, you know, any quality movie, and to hire the best directors and the best writers. They finally came forward and they said, you're absolutely right. The previous leadership has missed the boat here. We want to pick it up. We are going to buy the rights, and we're going to be serious about it and make those into quality movies with A directors and with A writers and so on. And we want you to participate in this. And we want you to star and you to play Conan. And we're going to take a story where Conan is at that age. And so it's totally believable, so it doesn't look like you're trying to be a 30-year-old action guy and Conan or something like that. So they are writing right now the script, and it could very well be that one of the places they're looking very closely right now is the Jackson studio in New Zealand, and so there's all kinds of dialogue on that level, which the Conan movies, except John Milius' Conan movie and Dino De Laurentiis' the one I did, Conan the Barbarian, had that level of work. But after that, it was all, it went downhill. And so I think that there's a good chance now that they're going to do a really good Conan movie that has the studio support, that has the studio, the big financing.
Do you have a time frame that you're thinking?
I would say, I have heard them that they're rushing.
Okay.
They really want to get it done, so they want to start shooting sometimes end of this year. Yeah, so they're
I have to be on that set.
You will be.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I will be back.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah. Johnny, if you were to do another Jackass type film and you could persuade your co-star to show up for it, what situation would you put Arnold in?
I'm dying to work with Arnold on another movie. We would love to have him in Jackass, but I mean, the man was the governor of California. We'll give him a pass on being in Jackass. But I'm dying to work with him again. I mean, he was on the set and he was having so much fun and had such a joy about being there. And when the number one on the call sheet is that way, it makes the whole movie so much fun. So anytime, I don't want to put any pressure, but I'd love to work with you again soon.
Me too.
Well,
I'd like to work with you.
On the set, Arnold told me that in politics, everybody's working to tear you down, whereas on a movie, every single person that's on that set is there to build you up. And that's the difference between politics and Hollywood filmmaking. And I just thought that was a remarkable perspective when you told me that.
Well, it's true, because people always ask me that, say, it's both of them are very difficult professions, because if you want to really do well in show business and in acting, you got to go and work your butt off. You just can't hang out and try to phone those performances in. You got to be there, you got to rehearse, you got to work on it, you got to prep in order. It's tough work. And the same is also in politics. You work very hard from early morning to late at night. You go to bed with headaches about the fires that happened one day. I remember I got woken up at 4 in the morning and there were 2018 fires in California. It was during the fire season.
Yeah.
So so you don't sleep that whole night. And also the next night after that, because people's houses are burning down and people are suffering and all this stuff. So there's all this, but it's all good work because you're doing it for a specific purpose. The only difference is that in the movie business, everyone that is on the set, as you said, is there to support you. The makeup artist is there trying to make you look good. The stunt coordinator is trying to make you look studly with your stunts and everything. The guy that is showing you how to race through the cornfield is trying to make you look good. So everyone is there. The director comes, good take, Arnold, really good take. Let's try another one. That was really fantastic. You perform. Everyone is positive. In politics, it is unbelievable. I mean, you will be announcing your budget, and immediately the other side would go out and say, he's trying to balance the budget on the backs of the poor. Isn't that terrible? Or something like that. And then they come to you to drink some schnapps in your smoking tent, and they say, I had to say that, for my party. Labor likes when they say. So that's the way it works. It's unbelievable that everyone is trying to attack everyone. And that's so much gets done.
When you came back to making film, did all this niceness get on your nerves? I mean, you've been in the tough world of cutthroat politics for a while. Was there a period of adjustment? Or
Well,
were you just
remember that our
back?
business is not as clean about it. It's when you get to the set,
Yeah.
then everything is positive. But I mean, remember that they say there's a lot of sharks in Hollywood, right?
Yeah.
So Hollywood is a dangerous town, and it is not as nice as one thinks it is. So, I mean, you used to that, but I've been, as you know, for decades involved in movies and in show business. So I only stepped out for 7 years, and now I popped back in again. So it's not a surprise to come back and to see different, it just to me was a shock in the beginning to get into politics and to try to come up with great ideas. And then you have these 120 legislators sitting there looking at you like, you're out of your mind. You know, you say, let's rebuild California. Let's build more highways, more freeways, more tunnels, more bridges. Let's rebuild the infrastructure we needed, and cable cars, and light rail, and high-speed rail, and all of those kind of things. And they look at it, but what is if things go wrong, or what is if people don't like it, and what is if this, what is it? They're all so negative and so slow. For me, it's like action. Let's go and make the decisions, and let's go and make big moves. I mean, that's California. It's like Texas. California is a huge state, and they deserve the best. And
Texas
so is Texas.
bigger.
Texas is a place where people think big, and you deserve big things here. Big freeways, big cars, big
I would
buildings,
love for
big
you
jobs.
to establish residency and become governor of Texas.
Oh, thank
The last time I saw you in Austin, you came out with Ann Richards at a meeting down at
That's right, yeah.
And I just thought, that's the next governor.
Thank you.
Up there?
So, Arnold, you mentioned the director, Kim, being like Buster Keaton, acting things out, being very physical. There's a lot of comedy in the movie, and that's one of the things that I liked so much, is that you were able to balance that in your performances with real stakes that you had as characters. Were there any of, I guess you would say, the classic comedic types of westerns that both you and Johnny might have watched in preparation for performing in it, or maybe you just liked, that inspired you when you were younger, or that they're just along those lines of comedic westerns that you guys enjoy?
Well, no, I tell you, to me, life has its dramas, and real sad moments, and then the happy moments. But no matter what, I always feel like you can step back, no matter what the situation is, and you can find something funny about the situation. And this is why I think it is so important, even when you have an action-packed movie, that you're able to have some kind of comic relief, because people love to laugh, and they like to be entertained. When you turn the lights out, they want to see all the action, all the fast driving, and all the fight scenes, and explosions, and shootouts, and all this, but they also like to be able to laugh. And so to me, that is a very important aspect of any movie. And to me, what was remarkable was that Kim Chi-woon has figured out the American sense of humor. I mean, imagine if we would go over there and try to figure out here and direct in Chinese. And we don't really speak Chinese, maybe a little bit, and then you try to figure out what makes the Chinese people laugh, and how long ought to be the joke, and all this, like he did with us. I mean, that's really remarkable. I mean, that he really had his sense down. I mean, when he directed Johnny, I mean, he would say, he says, give me a little bit more of this, or give me a little bit less of that, or try to be a little bit more subtle, or I like to see more body movement or something. So he really gets into it. It was really remarkable to see him have that be that much in touch with our humor.
Yeah, I'm incredibly impressed with Kim Chi-woon.
He's an amazing director. And just to expand on my favorite, you said comedic western, and the greatest comedic western, and my favorite comedy of all time is Blazing Saddles. And I don't know if I had that in the back of my head when I was working on this, but it probably is always in the back of my head because I just quote the lines all day long, every day. So I'm just trying to promote The Last Stand and Blazing Saddles here tonight.
Okay, over there.
Me?
Yes.
Hey, I was just going to say that I really loved Grand Theft Parsons,
Oh, thank you.
and I was wondering if you had any more, I guess, more serious characters in the future.
Well, Bill Kaufman, the road manager for Graham Parsons, gave me the patch on the back of this jacket.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and so that's very special to me. I do have a movie coming out called Small Apartments, which we showed here in Austin, I believe. I've had a few drinks. No, which I believe and that comes out in a few weeks. Jonas Ackerlund directed it. Matt Lucas is in it. Peter Stormare, who was in this, is in it. James Caan, Billy Crystal. It was a pretty great cast, and so it's a more serious role than that.
Okay. Last question from the audience. Let's see someone be enthusiastic here. Oh, okay, we got it. Okay, bodybuilder man. Okay.
I didn't make fun of you, I really wasn't.
There's a lot of flexing going on here. Let's get the baby oil on.
First of all, The Last Stand in one word, fantastic. Secondly, you mentioned Expendables. Has Sly called you for Expendables 3 or talking about
We have talked about it while we were shooting Expendables 2. He would say, you know, if this one makes more money and the more people see this movie and enjoy it, then I would obviously make it Expendables number 3, and I would love you to be part of that, Arnold. And so that was kind of like a little bit of hypothetical kind of a conversation. But, you know, I enjoyed it thoroughly. The first one, the first Expendables, I worked 4 hours on that and did a cameo. And because I was governor then, and I had to shoot it on Saturday, so we don't take the people's work away. And then the second one, I worked 4 days. I went to Bulgaria and worked 4 days on that picture. And so I told Sly, I said, if that one does go well, maybe the next one I work 4 weeks on it. So maybe we slowly work our way up.
Now, before y'all go, you get to, the next time we see you in a film, I believe you went to prison with Stallone for a
That's
bit of
right,
time.
yeah. Right after this movie, we did a film, which was last spring, called, The Tomb. And The Tomb is a buddy movie where Sly is an expert in breaking out of prisons, and then he gets to one prison where he can't break out, and he's stuck. And so he becomes buddies with me because he knows that I know how to get out of that prison, and I have a lot of information. So with his information and his skills and my information, we could get out of there. And so that it becomes a buddy movie. It's a great film. It was a lot of fun working with him again. This will come out most likely this fall.
Okay, cool.
And then after that, I've just finished a film in Atlanta, which is called 10, with David Ayer.
Yeah.
And that was it's a police drama, which is going to come out in maybe a year from now.
So you're back to
So
stay.
I've done 4 movies since I finished my governorship. Yeah. So things are on a roll.
Awesome.
And it's great to see this much demand for me, not only in America but internationally. So I'm very happy to raise it.
Well, I hope you make it a standard part of your tour with your films to come here to the Alamo Drafthouse and do a screening with me.
Thank you.
And it has been my absolute honor to have you back on the big screen.
Thank you very much. It's nice to be here. It's nice to be with all of you. Thank you very much for watching the movie here today and being here today. I also want to say thank you to John in Knoxville for being such a great partner, so much fun in the movie. And
Well,
thank
you come to
Harry.
Austin all the time. I love it.
I love Austin
Yeah.
so much. It's my favorite place. So invite me back. I would love to.
We went like typical tourists. We went to a Western store today and bought cowboy hats and belt buckles.
Now, I would be delinquent if I don't do this. The Alamo Drafthouse has a history that they do where they ask various celebrities that come in, what would you do if somebody whipped out their phone in the middle of a movie theater and started texting or even answering a phone call? What would Arnold Schwarzenegger do in that situation?
Well, first of all, I'm trained to be tolerant because my children do exactly that all the time, right on the dinner table, or when we have breakfast, or when we get together, or in church, or when we travel, or when we drive in the car. They tune you out, and they're just texting, and they're making phone calls, and they're working with all the high technology stuff, and so I got so used to it now that it doesn't make me mad anymore. But of course, it will be somewhat strange when someone starts making a call. If someone texts, it's one thing, but if someone makes a phone call in the middle of the movie theater, there's only one solution: death.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Everybody, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Knoxville, Last Stand, tweet about it, let the people know it kicks ass.